Brendan Harvey?
Harvey, yes, with the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office.
Pinellas County Sheriff's Office. I appreciate you, Captain Harvey, giving me a call back. Now, you were talking about in reference to the complaint?
Yes. I tried calling you before and left a voicemail. I don't know if you didn't get it or not, but I've been trying to get a hold of you. But that's why I'm calling, yes, sir, about your complaint.
Okay, yeah, very good. Thank you for giving me a call back. Yeah, I hadn't gotten any message yet. This is the first time I heard you called. But thank you for giving me a call back. Do you have some questions concerning the complaint?
Well, no, I just wanted to inform you, I understand why you were a little upset about them going over at 5-something in the morning. They should have gone out there actually at a more reasonable hour considering what they were being tasked to do.
Sure.
And I do want you to know that we're being tasked to respond to a citizen who complained about where you guys were parked out there.
Yeah.
And,
so can I just interrupt you for one moment? Just one moment.
Go ahead.
So my complaint is not about the obviously anybody can call the 911 for whatever reason they want to. I mean it's been that way. So basically, I don't know if you got my complaint incorrect. It's not about the fact that someone called the 911 or reported, but what they reported was not a crime. So when they call 911, the report would be that there's someone parked on the easement. You have 48 hours to park on the easement before you're in violation of any type of code enforcement or ordinance or anything. So
absolutely. So under Florida State Statute 316-194, right? Because you have 48 hours.
Sure.
But they have to provide you that notice. So I'm not quite sure, it seemed, and I'm going to tell you I've already gotten with the shift commander because it seemed like the initial deputy you talked to, Jagoda, was a little confused because I know he started citing the county ordinances.
Sure.
Then he issued you a red tag.
Yeah.
So I think he was a little confused about that, and then they kept telling you 24 hours.
Yeah.
Which was incorrect information. You had 48 hours.
But they were willing to act. That wasn't the Jagoda that told me 24 hours. That was your.
Well, that was the other shift commander.
Yeah.
That was not Jagoda supervisor or the Sergeant Waugh or Corporal Johnson.
Right.
And that was the other shift commander who said it was 24 hours. And he had also not looked at the red tag, and I don't think he had the information on when the red tag was issued. Now, what I will tell you, when I talked to him, he was citing a county ordinance.
Let me ask you a question real quick, because there's a whole lot of cars with no tags on them, all parked down there by that towing company on the corner of Savannah and it's a towing company that's been there for JM Towing. It's been there for a long time. No, Branston Towing or something like that. It's right down there in Savannah. So the whole line of cars is on the easement. Some of them are broke. They got the old Bob's carpet bin trailer there. There's old RVs. It's been there 10 years or more. Okay, obviously it's on the easement and it is in violation of the ordinance. But it's no problem. So we one of the things we worry about is equal protections in the law. Obviously, if there's going to be enforcement of law, it should be enforced without discrimination, indiscriminately. Obviously, that would be the only true enforcement of anything. So,
I understand that, sir, but I mean they were not there to discriminate against you. They were there responding to a citizen had complained about the fact that you guys were there on the right of way.
Yeah, but a citizen they can complain. I understand what you're saying. Anybody can call 911 for.
It's no different if they call the county code enforcement and say, "Hey, I want to make a complaint about this."
Well, that's the only thing they can complain about. They can only, and that's a civil matter. So they're calling law enforcement. See, there's a difference between civil and criminal in law enforcement.
I understand that, sir, but Pinellas County Sheriff's Officer duly authorized to issue an ordinance violation.
Sure, but I mean, wouldn't you imagine it should be done correct? Okay, let's get started with the basics. First off, you've got a shift commander saying it's 24 hours, and they're willing to act on that. So hold on. Well, you have to understand. Go ahead. You have to understand that there are things that you're sliding past that shouldn't be slid past. I mean, so first off, you got Jagoda starting at 5:30 a.m. I mean, which we can both agree is an unreasonable time to show up. We had not been there at 48 hours, so we were in violation of absolutely no ordinance whatsoever. whatsoever. So when he does show up at 5:30 a.m. with not even 24 hours at that point in time, from the time that we parked there, he red tags us for 48 hours on a violation that we didn't commit. So then the
no. The red tag notice, sir, is to provide you the notice, right? So the red tag is just merely a notification of, hey, I am notifying you, I am making you aware of this, and you have 48 hours to remove the vehicle.
Sure, but the ordinance itself is 48 hours.
They're not issuing you a fine. They're not
Understood.
issuing you a citation.
Understood.
So that was just them going out there to start the clock.
Understood. And then 5 hours later, not 24 hours later, not 48 hours later, 5 hours later, at around 11 o'clock a.m. is when that shift commander shows up with a sergeant and another guy, and they say that you have 24 hours. So they're mistaken. We'll just say mistaken, because
I watched Deputy Jagoda's body cam, and Jagoda had also said 24 hours, and he was also mistaken.
Okay, so then
I've already talked.
Yeah.
What's that?
So then everybody's mistaken, but people being mistaken can lead to violations of rights and even death in some cases when somebody doesn't comply with their mistaken information. So if we hadn't pulled,
sir, hold on just a second.
Go ahead.
I told you I got with the shift commanders to let them know and to review the matter so that they're aware of what's enforceable and not.
That's important.
So I have gotten with them to talk to them about that.
Thank you.
And review it. And I said, that Deputy Jagoda going out there at that time and not even being 100% of what actions that he could take, that they needed to sit down and educate the
hash that out better.
Making sure he doesn't repeat that.
Yeah, hash that out better, because honestly, that was just irritable. It wasn't like what really got to me was that at least I have the decency of looking at legislation. So before I even parked, so we started looking for RV parks. Now, if the RV parks don't want to have us with our box van and our old truck, and I have a daughter who's got autism, and they got one story after another. There's 55 and older here. There's no room there. The hurricane's there, and so we're forced to park on easement. So it's not that we're making the decision to park on easement. We're being forced to park on easement by bureaucracy of private property ownership rights. So that's not your problem. But then
No, but it's a struggle that you guys are having you're faced with, and I understand that that's a very difficult
situation.
You guys are trying to find a place where you guys can set up. Because
we're not trying to set up.
Family, yes.
My dad lives there. I moved out west, and I'll be honest with you, I don't like this type of lifestyle. I don't like all the regulations that it takes to manage so many people in a small environment. I get it. I get that there's obviously ordinances and laws and HOAs and there's county and municipality. I get it, but I moved away from it on purpose, and my dad decided that that's what he wanted to be around is more and more regulations. Mainly so his neighbors had to be regulated too. But regardless of that fact, so we come here to visit him. I think it sends a bad message to us Gen Xers who are now dealing with our parents getting of age to where they're calling us wherever we might have to live. And I'll be honest with you, most of our generation we were latchkey kids. We didn't spend a lot of time with our parents. They were either at work, gone, and when we turned 18 years old, we started building our own lives. So here I am traveling with my whole family across the country because apparently my dad doesn't want to come out west, neither does my mom, so we had to drag all the kids so they can get to know their grandparents before they die. And then we get to wherever they happen to live, and in my dad's case it's Tarpon Springs, or Pinellas County outside Tarpon Springs, and we're met with all these problems that we left to begin with. So I think it sends a bad message to our generation when we're trying to put forth so much effort. And I know I'm not the only one. It's very evident that this is a generational issue. That when we get there, we're going to be shunned in some way, shape, or form because we're not obeying the cultures of our grandparents, of the boomers. They have their own cultures and we have our own, and it's good, whatever. I love my dad, but I don't have to deal with that. Now, if I look at the laws and I take the time to read the legislation, I expect the enforcement, the executive branch of the area, to be at least as informed as I am before trying to execute any duties. Because when they're not, what happens is what happens is I'm telling them they're wrong. They're saying they're right. They have a gun and a badge and arresting powers, and they're like, well, you can beat the rat, but you can't beat the ride. And that's a bad attitude to have toward the public.
Well, and I watched the body cam video, and at no point did anybody, that I saw threaten you with arrest or anything like that. Now, I will agree. Now, keep in mind, if you got to remember, so they're going to have to go out and make contact with somebody, or if there was nobody there and you guys had just left the vehicles there, they would have posted the notice on the vehicle. But
that's all they should have done. I mean, in all reality,
he shouldn't have.
That's all he should have done.
He should have picked a more reasonable time.
Or just put the notice on the vehicle and go away. I mean, he didn't have to make contact at all. There was no legal reason to make contact. You could just post the notice and you leave. It's an ordinance violation that had a 48-hour time limit. So then
it's actually a Florida state statute.
Or NFSS. I mean, but regardless of the 48-hour time limit. So all you had to do is provide notice. Go ahead.
Hold on, I'm not arguing with you.
Okay, go. You're good. I got a little excited there. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, but what I'm going to tell you is, it is very rare, and I listen to what you said, and I can, I'm totally understanding about how, like, hey, you guys are out west, you come here, you're struggling to find, you're trying to visit your dad, you're struggling to find a place that you guys can set up at, and you're struggling, because I agree with you, most places probably don't. They're 55 and up, or there's all sorts of restrictions, and it's very difficult to deal with.
Well, Tarpon Springs doesn't even have one in their city.
I understand where you're coming from.
Tarpon Springs doesn't even have an RV park or an RV zoning inside their city. So we were trespassed from public easement inside the city of Tarpon Springs by the municipality there. And I know that's not really your thing. You're different. Your department.
Correct.
But they pushed us down the industrial area, right? So here we're trying to make logical decisions as adults, and we have we're like. And you got to go ahead.
I got but just hold on. I hear what you're saying, but hold on. Just let me finish for a second.
Certainly.
So I will tell you, it is very rare, right, that we have to deal with complaints of this nature, right, where